What's up guys, Raymond here, and in this video I want to talk about why I like Thanos. So I want to go back, I'm going to go into a place which is a bit more quiet. So yeah, so first of all I want to introduce who Thanos is and what exactly he is. So Thanos is supposed to be a deviant and eternal hybrid. The thing I don't understand about Thanos is that both in the comics so Thanos is depicted in different ways in the comics and in the cinematic universe. In the cinematic universe, he's he's dramatically diminished in terms of his powers. He doesn't really have any specific powers besides strength, which I find quite annoying because in the comics he has a lot more powers like energy absorption, energy distribution and stuff like that. So I mean emission, sorry, and flight and stuff like that. So and when you read about him on like pages like Wikipedia and stuff like that, into his character profile and his different powers, there's so many different powers that are attributed to him. But in the comic books and the comic series, as well as the cinematic universe in the movies, like these powers vary a lot. So I definitely don't like that, but I mean it is what it is. So Thanos is a deviant eternal hybrid. He's a Titanium, which means he was born on the moon of Titan, which is I think is one of Saturn's moons. Obviously the story of Saturn, I mean the way that Saturn is described in the cinematic universe and the way it's associated with Thanos is completely different to the realistic view of Saturn, because obviously it's uninhabitable, so you can't actually live there. But anyway, yeah, he's a really cool guy because he's like he's one of the prominent figures of villains in comic books that whose main power is his intellect. Because if you think about it, Thanos is one of the strongest, physically strongest villains and characters in general in comic books in general. I would take that back. He's a strong guy, but I don't think he's one of the strongest, because if you think about it, you have people like the Sentry, you have people like the Hulk that are way stronger than Thanos. I mean, in the cinematic universe, the directors of Avengers, the Russo brothers, they said that Thanos is as strong as the Hulk in his base form, however you define the Hulk's base form. But I definitely disagree with that, because Hulk, by definition, his power is to have unlimited physical strength based on based on his level of anger. But I agree that Thanos is quite strong, but I definitely feel like in the Infinity War film, his power was greatly diminished. But anyway, Thanos, I've already described who Thanos is, briefly what his powers are. I would say his powers are mainly, most prominent powers are intellect and war strategy. He's basically an intergalactic warlord. So basically, warfare and strategic warfare is probably his main power and what he's mainly known attributed to, as well. And secondly, strength and hand-to-hand combat. So which he utilizes whenever he needs to. He doesn't always utilize it, but whenever he needs to. So that's Thanos. And why do I like Thanos? Well, I like Thanos because I would separate the three different types of Thanoses. The Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Thanos that is that you can read about on pages like Wikipedia and Wiki, as well as the Thanos in the comic books and the comic series. The comic books and the comic series Thanos is much more of a villain, as opposed to the Thanos in the Cinematic Universe, in my opinion. He's a bit more sadistic in the... Actually, no, he's not. He's a bit more... You can say he's a bit more sadistic in the Marvel Avengers Infinity War film, because he's more relatable, because of the real life... because he's more of a real life figure, as opposed to the cartoons and the comic books. But his actions in the comic books are definitely more sadistic, because you have more to see, and there's more to see in the comic books, because there's more stories about him in the comic books, and there's more comic books about him. So yeah, sorry, this video isn't very specific and succinct in terms of Thanos as a character, but my next videos are going to be more about superheroes and people and figures with powers, special abilities, because I feel passionate about discussing special abilities and supernatural powers and abilities, as well as topics concerning finance, particularly net worth and money, because those are the two things I'm most passionate about. So stay tuned if you're interested in those things, and thank you for watching. Peace.